All right, guys, we have the Spurs just annihilating the Wolves, and the Knicks and Sixers going down to the wire as Embiid did not play, and the Knicks are now up 2-0. So let's go to the Spurs-Wolves first. Everything you wanted to see right away from the Spurs, between Wemby just being in the paint more often, muscling through Randle, going for putbacks, Fox just pushing all the time off of makes and misses. I mean, it wasn't just him. Like, it felt like there was a whole Spurs thing, whether it was Castle pushing or Keldon just flying in transition or whoever, because the Wolves were just not getting back on defense. Castle was relentless getting downhill. You had, among just a malaise of a game from the Wolves, you had this weird stretch where, like, Wemby wasn't even in the game. It was Cornette, and yet Cornette was effectively Wemby because either they wouldn't challenge him. Like, I have this one Jaden pull-up three in my head where Jaden was better from three this season, but he's not a pull-up three guy. Although I'm sure if I go back through all of his shots in the Nuggets series, I'll see a few of them. I don't feel like Io challenged him on a couple of shots. Some good Spurs possessions of doubling Ant on the ball, and then Cornette would rotate back into the paint to contest Nas. There was a similar one like that when Wemby was out there where somebody sent a double, and then Wemby had to cover ground to get out to Nas because, you know, we saw like the Nas and No Gobert lineup in this one, and they were way more prepared for that. Wemby was also helping off of Jalen Clark, which will always be a challenge for you if he has somebody that he can just kind of help off of, right? You had Harper's pressure on Ant that I'm remembering specifically when he was picking him up full court. Like the Spurs, they came out in this game like, we have to win this game, and the Wolves, they just kind of folded, man. Now, it should be said, the higher seed being down 1-0 going into game two, that is probably one of the more predictable blowout wins you can pick in a series. But even so, the degree to this one was crazy. I mean, once the Spurs realized that we could just push off of makes and misses and they're just not going to get back at all, it was like, what are we doing here? Now, you may be wondering, is this going to change my pick that I made 4 seconds after game one ended saying the Wolves are going to win the series? No, I'm staying with the Wolves. I am 10 toes down on the Wolves. But, I mean, if you're a Spurs fan, you can just say, hey, well, we almost stole the first game and we didn't even play well, and then this game we killed them. Totally fair. We also did see them doubling Ant quite a bit as the lead ballooned, and there were some misses in there. Like, I remember a Terrence Shannon 3 that was pretty good off of that. But for the most part, like, if you're walking the ball up court and your shot selection's already kind of suspect and you got Wemby waiting for you down there, and then the doubles, even if you're making the right play, but it's all just like a second later than you'd like it to be, or it's slowing down your offense, then yeah, you're just going to be in a very tough spot versus the Spurs defense. So that is pretty much what happened. I think similar to how it was in Pistons Magic after the Pistons blew out the Magic in game two, we are going to learn everything about this series in game three. Just how the Wolves respond. Is it a nail biter? The whole thing. Spurs did what they had to do. Let's be honest, me believing in the Wolves and then they lose game two by 30 points, very on brand. Actually, let's just talk about Ant for a little bit. So the image I have in my head right now of Ant in this series is a bunch of jumpers. They went in the last game, and this one they didn't, and also him getting doubled a bit more. Don't get me wrong, there have been drives with him beating Keldon from nearly half court on a blow-by, and then Randle seals Wemby under the rim from game one being the one I remember the most. We haven't really had the moment of like Ant versus Wemby at the rim, Ant full speed, Wemby's waiting for him, let's see what happens. And only Ant knows how his knee is feeling, or how both knees are feeling. And besides the fact that would just be really, really cool to watch, it might just be kind of tough on you if Ant's got to make a whole bunch of really tough jumpers, but he did it in game one. As far as Randle, I do wonder if the Wolves can get him established early in the next game and find him some mismatches similar to what it was late in game one where he was going out like Vassell, or he had a tough one on Keldon, I believe, as well. I mean, in this one early on, like he did get one Fox switch, but they couldn't get the ball to him. He screened, I think it was for, maybe it was Jaden, and he got Fox switched onto him, but then the play just didn't end up on his way again. He is also just being guarded by sometimes Castle, sometimes Keldon, so somebody pretty physical, but if you can find him some possessions against Vassell or Fox or whatever, that'd be nice. He did have an ugly one, I think it was like mid-first quarter against Keldon on the free throw line on this one. I'm also remembering a random double they threw at him early in this one that he wasn't ready for. Okay, now we go to Knicks, Sixers. First question, what's up with OG? As of an hour ago, I can't really find anything, besides a bunch of negative vibes from Knicks fans. We'll see with OG, and we'll also see with Embiid, where, man, that Embiid report, it was just a bummer. There's nothing more you can say. Hopefully we see him. Also, no Mitch today. But as far as tonight, it felt like the story of this game was, for the most part, when Maxey would put Brunson or Cat in actions, either to get the Brunson switch or just to put Cat in the thing, the Knicks would put two to the ball, not necessarily a hard double, but whether it's level of the screen, hedge and recover, whatever you want to say, right? And then it just became, does he dribble out of this? Does he make the play to the guy in the middle of the floor, and then you're just getting good shots off of that? Do you make the shots? Whatever. I mean, we saw Oubre have a couple of corner threes early on. We saw Oubre actually have 2 different drives off of this. One was fouled, one it was like a cut where he finished. They also kept on putting Oubre in the corner late there because Brunson was on Oubre, so it effectively made Brunson the guy who has to slide over, and he did strip Maxey on one of those when Maxey split Cat and, I'm going to guess it was McHale. Felt like PG as well as VJ made threes throughout this stuff in the flow of the game. VJ also had a couple of tough jumpers where the play just sort of died on him and he made something happen anyway. And so it was close late, but then there were just a few of these plays that just went the Knicks' way instead, or the Sixers just missed a good shot. Like, it felt like there were a lot of plays there late where it was Barlow just getting it in the middle of the floor, having to make the decision. I'm remembering one where VJ was wide open on the wing, but he had to turn in order to make that pass. He tried to go to Oubre, bounce pass out of bounds. It should be said, the Knicks had a decently long stretch of the first half where because of Cat's fouls and because Mitch isn't playing, it was either Huck Porty or there was just no center at all. And they just had some good hustle plays out of it. Like one of the times off of the double, this one when Maxey was going to Brunson, I think Oubre was pretty open at the top of the key, and then Cat just made a really good defensive play to get out there. Then they're scrambling, and I think VJ ended up taking just a difficult shot that didn't drop, or, there was like maybe one VJ corner three that didn't go in throughout this run, but I mean, look, VJ, 3 for 7 from 3, like he's still making shots as a rookie in these playoffs. So that kind of felt like the big thing late. I mean, there were other various things throughout this, right? Like we had more of Cat as a playmaker at the top of the key. We had some stretches there where it just looked like Bona or Drummond. It's just kind of tough for a traditional big guy to guard Cat. Either you're not high enough up on the 3 or you're too high up and then he can drive on you, which then led to them putting PG on Cat late in the game. And I will say, they did win, and Brunson did make a couple of his ISOs against Barlow. They did get back into Cat isn't really part of the offense late, unless I'm forgetting a play or two, but I'm just remembering a lot of possessions of Brunson dribbling the air out of the ball, and then I'm just looking at PG on Cat, and I'm once again having those thoughts of like, it shouldn't be this easy to take him out of the offense, but they won the game, so it's something you take note of still. I get it, he can switch, but there's still options there. Now, Cat did miss a shot at the rim when he was guarded by PG, but I think it was makeable. Anyway, OG was also amazing just scoring in the flow of the game. Like, the way that this dude doesn't really have that many plays drawn up for him, and he just ends up with 20-something points, whether it's transition, open on threes, or actually not even open on threes sometimes. I mean, the dude's been red hot from 3, or defenses just forget for a second that he's able to put it on the floor like that. I mean, it's been crazy with OG. We'll see if he's healthy. And I guess for Philly, for one, you got to ask yourself, do we just want to keep on betting that we'll make the right play and we'll make the shots when they put 2 to the ball on Maxey? I mean, he had that stretch of just posting up on Alvarado that was pretty good. And you can always try some off-ball stuff just to get him a different look, or just, I guess, not get 2 to the ball on him as much. But the Knicks are always going to be dialed in on him. It's just the reality without Embiid. So yeah, but, again, they did have some threes out of those looks that just simply didn't go in. I am remembering a flare screen they set for Maxey at some point in this game. So, there's the ideas there. PG had a personal little stretch of making some tough jumpers to open this thing up. They're not totally cooked, but obviously Game 3 is a must-win. So yeah, guys, that'll do it. And have a good one.